is sort of like a pictorial representation of the things that you want in your life. Put some examples up on the screen of what vision boards look like. But essentially what it is that you do some reflection, discover and are honest about the things that you want for yourself in the year, and then you write those things down. A lot of us do resolutions, intentions and goals at the beginning of the year. So a vision board is like that, but with images. I kind of wanted to talk about why I got into doing that this year when I never really have. I'm not gonna show it, I'm not sure, just because evil eye, people be crazy. Something that I mentioned in my lessons from 2020 video is that I would typically always talk about doing things, and then they would happen, and then someone in my life would sort of call my attention to the fact that this was something I always talked about wanting to do. And I would always say I just want X amount of money to invest into myself as a blogger or as a content creator, because I always wanted to do that, but I always was held back by finances. I couldn't afford to do that. And then last year, close to the end of last year, I got this really big job with Shiseido, which was crazy. But I got this job with Shiseido, so I'm on Sephora. I will leave the link in the description box down below. So watch me be the Avon lady. But I got this big job, and it basically paid me the money that I always said I wanted to have to take a leap of faith into being a blogger person. It was just sort of really crazy having something like that happen, because my following is quite small. I'm based in Ghana. in my head it was very why did they choose me to do this? But I've sort of flipped that thinking now. It's always been, why not me? Other things like that over the course of my life, where I have just sort of spoken about things that have been just in my head, in my heart, and then they've happened. And I think what it is just sort of coming into a place where you're aligning with what your path should be, and you don't realize it, but you're speaking it. So I watched a bunch of videos about other people's vision boards and manifestation practice. So I came to this. How do you vision board? When we think of what's a 5-year plan, what's a 10-year plan? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? That kind of question. Sometimes the answer that you give is rehearsed. Sometimes it's an answer that's been given to you. What I mean by that is sometimes we don't want things because we want them. We want them because other people expect us to, because they would be socially approved of. For instance, you are a young woman who doesn't want marriage or children, but whenever someone asks where you'll be in 5 years, you always say, oh, married with a child or two, because that's the socially conditioned response that is expected. So I would suggest taking some time to think through what are the things that you actually want for yourself by yourself, right? If there were no social expectations of you, if your life was really just yours to live, what would you want? And the questions that I found really cool to ask myself was, for my ideal self, so where do I live? What does my morning routine look like? Where do I eat? What do I eat? What do I do for a living? When I think of my ideal self, what does that life look like? And just sort of write that down in as much detail as possible. For me at least, when I'm writing things down, it's a lot harder for me to lie to myself, because I can see the story that I'm crafting if I'm faking it. As you're doing that, just question the things that are coming up for you, and just be honest with yourself about, is this what I want for me? Because you can also want the things that are socially conditioned, right? Those two, that's not mutually exclusive. Sort of being aware, I think, is what I mean, of where you meet expectations of others, and making sure that those two things are in a good balance. So after you have done an hour, 2-hour long journaling of that ideal self situation, then the way that I divided up my vision board was between work and life. So what are the things that I would like to see happen in my work life? What are the things I would like to see happen in my personal life? And everything that you've written down about your ideal self, where could you be at the end of this year that gets you closer to that ideal self? So if you, in your ideal life, you're like waking up in your own space, like by the end of this year, what other things you could have done that get you closer to being that person? Could you move out by the end of this year, for instance? So then that could be something that you put on as a goal for the end of fall this year on your vision board. And then all the other like resolutions and goals that you might have come up with before, like at the beginning of the year, those will also factor into your vision board. What I did after that was when I went on Pinterest, because Pinterest always has the best photos. So then you go on Pinterest and then you find images that match what you've put on your list of goals. So let's say you want to be married by the end of the year, you go find a cute wedding photo from Pinterest and you stick it on your vision board. You want to be promoted by the end of the year, you go find a picture of a person in a three-piece suit in a corner office. It's kind of like how I went about it. It's all the different goals that I wanted. I then went on Pinterest and then I found images that matched those things. I also really like quotes and words. So then I would also look out for different quotes that matched sort of like where I wanted to, the person I wanted to become by the end of the year. Myself to always be honest and open and authentic to myself. So that I would put those words on my vision board as well. I'll just arrange them. I will put a picture of what my first iteration of my vision board looked like. It doesn't look like that anymore. So I'll put a picture of that over here so you guys can see. It's on Canva that you can use, so I will leave a link to those as well, if it's possible. Like a vision board. And then you can print it out, so you can save it on your phone, save it on your laptop, somewhere where you can refer back to it and just keep yourself constantly reminded of where you want to be. Yeah, that's how I did my vision board, and I think what's been good about it is just sort of like having that picture of who I could be by the end of the year has been really good for me. It helps me to just have a vision for where my life is heading. Again, I think it's really important to speak the things that you want, to speak good things over yourself, to consistently affirm yourself and tell yourself all these beautiful, magical things about you that you want to hear from other people. Say them to yourself. I do affirmations in the morning, I do meditation in the morning, and it's really helped my days. Believe that the things that you've written down will happen, because what's the worst that could happen is they don't. But in the process of trying to get there, you'll be so much further from where you are right now. There's no downside to trying, but there's every downside to giving up on yourself and to giving up on the things that you want. So yeah, that's the end of my vision board video. I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys liked this. I feel like my energy might have been weird because I get a little strange when I talk like this. But yeah, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.